This is the new iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. They were both announced at Apple's first in-person event since 2019. And when you look at these two phones, just know that they are packed with new features, the most obvious being that the notch is gone. In fact, the notch has been replaced by a cutout that's shaped like a pill and houses a smaller Face ID true depth camera system. But one of the coolest things about this is a new thing called Dynamic Island. Now, the name is kind of funny, but it's really cool. And what it allows is for alerts and notifications and live actions to be displayed around that cutout. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. So let's break down the new iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. Right off the bat, let's talk about price. The iPhone 14 Pro starts at $999 and the iPhone 14 Pro Max at $1099. And if those prices sound familiar, it's the exact same prices that we had for the 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max. And what's impressive is Apple added a lot of new features, and yet the price remains the same. The two new iPhone 14 Pro models come in gold, silver, space black, or deep purple. And the deep purple, it just looks amazing. In some light, it looks black. In other light, it looks almost like 1989 Batman Prince purple, which is the purple we all want. Can we agree on that? And like the Dynamic Island, it looks far more impressive in person than it does in photos or videos. While the new display cutout is the most obvious change and looks amazing in person, the OLED panel in both phones was updated and is brighter. The screen can adjust its refresh rate between 120 Hz all the way down to 1 Hz. The new iPhone 14 and 14 Pro Max have an always-on display. I am so excited. This is something we see on most Android phones. It's something we see on the Apple Watch. But what it allows is the display to show things like your time, the date, the weather information, widgets, as well as things like live activities on the display while dimming the rest of it out and saving you power. And what I'm most excited about is it's on the iPhone. This is so cool. Another major update comes to the Pros is the A16 Bionic Chip. In fact, this new chip is only for the Pro models. Last year's iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max had a version of the A15 processor, and that's in the new iPhone 14 and 14 Plus instead. A16 Pro, A15 not Pro. Hey, before we jump into the cameras on the Pros, just know that if you want to keep up to date with everything that Apple announced today, including the new iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, the new Apple Watches, make sure you are subscribed to all things CNET. But let's talk about these cameras. And the big feature is the main camera gets a 48 megapixel sensor. And why this is a big deal is pixel binning has officially come to the iPhone. This is a feature that combines multiple pixels together to improve image quality, to improve brightness and detail, while also reducing image noise. We've seen it on a lot of Android phones like the Galaxy S22 Ultra, but this is the first time pixel binning is on the iPhone. So for this 48 megapixel sensor, Apple actually invented a new method for processing their images, which enables improved color accuracy and details. And remember when Samsung released the Galaxy S22 Ultra and they came up with this term called nightography? It's a little cheesy, but the idea was being that the phone takes better low-light photos. Apple kind of did the same thing with the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, but they're calling the processing photonic engine. Photonic engine is going to mean you have better low-light photos. Photonic engine. We'll move on. On the front of the phone, the true depth camera got upgraded with a new faster aperture lens, which should be a boost for selfies and video calls. Apple said that the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max will feature all-day battery life and have the same features on the base iPhone, such as action mode for better video image stabilization, emergency SOS for satellites when you're cut off from Wi-Fi and out of range of a cell tower, and you're in an emergency, you can contact someone, and there's crash detection, which uses software and the iPhone's hardware to detect when you're in an automobile accident and alert a loved one. At the end of the day, the new iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max are just packed with features. And I only got to experience some of them today, but I look forward to testing both in depth for a full review soon. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite iPhone 14 Pro feature. Also, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.